spoilers for this movie inbound, of course, so please click away now if you don't want that. Hello, one and all, Jake here, and welcome to a quick little fun, stupid video. I saw Encanto recently, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it was not my favorite movie, but it does provide some great material for a tier list. Specifically, what we're gonna be looking at today is how powerful are the gifts that the Madrigal family members have. And I mean in comparison to each other. So, not all of these powers are made equally. Some of them are clearly better than others, and I'm going to be ranking them based on how useful I think they are. So, yeah, we're just gonna start in the order that this random user decided to put these pictures in. So we're gonna start with Antonio here. He can talk to animals. I don't know if he can control animals or if it's just communication, but at the very least, he seems capable of bending animals to his will. And honestly, that seems quite useful. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a B tier, high B though. The reason is because the locus of control for this ability is not actually like within his own willpower. He has to go through the animals, and I don't know what they're going to be willing to cooperate with, what they're going to be willing to do. Maybe there are things that he should be able to accomplish that he can't, just because it's not only his will, it's the animals too that goes into the things he can do. But seems incredibly useful. Those rodents, or like the Snow White style of the birds are helping her get ready for the day. Is that Snow White? I don't know my Disney princesses, but that sort of thing. Just a lot of utility, and having a tiger on your side, that's some good physical protection as well. All right, next we have Luisa. She's strong. That's her ability, and I'm not going to beat around the bush here. This is a clear A tier ability. I mean, she's lifting up houses. She's lifting up like 5 donkeys at the same time. Like, as much as I would love to like say all the more creative abilities are better than they appear, come on, super strength. How are you going to argue that that's not one of the best abilities you can have? Like, that's so useful in many different situations, and the amount of work you can get done just by having this strength is astronomical. All right, next we have Isabella. She can make plants grow, specifically flowers, although later in the movie it's revealed that it's not just flowers. She can also make cacti grow and probably a bunch of other plants. I'm going to go ahead, and here's the first like wild take. I'm gonna put this at low A tier, and the reason I'm doing this is because just from like a physics perspective, think about the amount of energy that goes into growing a plant normally. She is accelerating that process so much that the amount of energy she must have access to using this power is huge. And this is not just in theory, it's in practice. She grew a plant so hard that it hit her boyfriend in the face, and he broke his nose. And she could do like deadly stuff like that, grow vines in places to trap people and move them around. And like, the possibilities are quite diverse with this power. And I think looking at it as just growing flowers is doing the power a disservice. It can do a lot of different things, and it's definitely like very powerful. Okay, so next up we have Maribel. Has no power. And if you're choosing this character, you're not playing to win. There's no reason to ever look at this character. In fact, there are 2 more characters I see right here that also don't have power. So we're just going to put all of these characters into the NA tier. They're just artifacts of, I clicked the first Encanto link I could find on Tier Maker, but they're not meant to be ranked. They're not a part of this whole thing. Okay, next up we have Bruno. His power is he could see the future, visions of the future. This is like a low C tier ability. I'm really like I'm not convinced that it does anything. This power. It seems like everything fate is like set in stone already in the universe of this movie, and all he could do is see it. Yeah, you can see in advance what's going to happen, but it was already meant for you to see it in order to cause those actions in the first place. So like what role does this power really play? The like maybe it helps you emotionally handle what could be coming in the future, but you can't really do anything to prevent it. And if you could, then it would ruin the purpose of the power. It's supposed to be a vision of the future. So, what does it do? What does it accomplish? You're really not accomplishing anything with this power. As much as seeing into the future might seem like it's broken, it's actually really not. Especially considering the fact that it's explicitly stated that he needs the conditions to be a specific way in order to perform the ritual that lets his power work. Like he needs a big open space. I can't understand like how this could actually come in handy at all. And so I have to put it at low C tier, only because like maybe it has a use that I'm not understanding. But putting myself in the position of a rational agent who has access to this ability, given that the thread of time can only go in one direction, I really just don't understand how it could be any higher than a low C tier. All right, next we have, what is this character's name again? Julieta or something like that. She can make food that like heals people, which I would say is actually pretty good. I would say that's a B tier ability. Any ailment you could just eat away. So like let's just say you're in the middle of a fight. It's like round 5. You're getting beat the hell out of. Just eat one of her meals and you're good to go. And so that's not really something that was shown in the movie, but like you could come up with some crazy uses for the ability to just heal yourself with a bite of a thing of food. That is definitely pretty powerful. And this power actually brings up a big question. So earlier in the movie, you see that Antonio can, he walks up and they do the whole like ceremony thing, and then the bird flies to him and he's able to talk to the bird, and that's how he discovers he has the power to talk to animals. How did she discover that she has the power to cook food that heals people? Did she just do this whole ceremony and then nothing happened for a couple days? She thought she didn't have a power, and then randomly she decided to cook one day and someone happened to be sick and the food healed them, and then they had to do experiments to prove that it wasn't a coincidence. Like I'm really unsure about how that whole ritual works. Do you just like implicitly know that you have the power now, or do you have to discover it? I don't know. Listen, this is not the type of movie that needs that kind of plot analysis. Anyway, next we have, I believe her name is Peppa. Hold on one second, guys. That is not what I meant to do. Hold on. There we go. And this. All right. Yeah. Her power is the weather is affected by her mood. This is worse than just not having a power, honestly. Like this is garbage. So here's the theoretical use for this power. You can make it rain so that the crops get more water and grow better. You can make it sunshiny if you are holding like a party and you need the weather to be good. And that's about it. And as for the former use case, well, Isabella already makes things grow, so you actually don't need good weather to grow crops. Like, you could just grow them using Isabella's power, making that rain useless. But here's the thing: even this limited use case isn't actually useful because her power is not actually to control the weather. Her power is the weather is reflecting her emotions, which is a night and day difference because now the power is tied to her emotional state. And so, like, let's just say that she wanted to water the crops using rain, she would have to make herself a little miserable to do it. And at that point, is it really even worth it? And also, now that I'm thinking about it, in the movie, we never see this weather changing ability have a wide area of effect. It seems to be local. In fact, it was raining indoors when she was sad, with just like a little small cloud over her head. And imagine the water damage you're doing to the floors of all the houses you're in. Like this power is just a disaster. And like it's really worse than not having a power at all. Think about it like this. Let's say you're in a situation where you need to hide your emotions. She can't do it. Everyone knows exactly what she's feeling at all times. She has to wear her heart on her sleeve. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they make her power so bad compared to all the others? It's like, I'm sorry if this is your favorite character or something, but wow, that's a bad power. That's a terrible. That's not a gift. They kept calling it gifts in this movie. That's not a gift. That's a burden. All right. Next up, we have Dolores, and she can hear. She can hear really well, and that's about it. I'm going to put this at a. It's better than seeing the future, but not by much. So you can gain some information from the ability to hear really well, but it seems like she's mostly a vessel for gossip, and she's not really using this ability to do anything like super pragmatic. Maybe you can like become a spy or something, and then it would help. But I'm like trying to think of a situation where I would want to be able to hear more, and I'm struggling. I just, it's cool and all, but I just don't think it's useful, and I don't think I would call this a powerful character because she's able to hear. So we're gonna put her in C tier. It's more useful than Bruno for sure because it's like actually like useful, but it's kind of like the least you can have while still being technically good and useful of a power. And speaking of this character, how does she not hear Bruno in the walls? All right, next up, and last but certainly not least, we have Camilo. He can shapeshift. This is easily the best power of them all. So let's just say, for example, he transforms into Luisa. Then the question comes up, does he have Luisa's strength? Does he have her power? Because if so, like, this is obvious why this is the best power. But let's just say that in this universe, there's some sort of power constant that you can't pass, and the candle knows that it can't give someone too much power, so it decides to sort of balance it out a little bit and not let you steal other characters' powers. You could just look like them. You can't actually inherit those powers. Still, he could transform into a very muscular man. And in the physical world, having muscles lets you perform feats of strength. It doesn't matter where they came from or whether it's like legit or whatnot. The muscles exist to do the thing that you want to do. And so he can still perform feats of strength, and he could still be somewhat strong, just not supernaturally strong like Luisa. But he also can be super agile. At one point he was shape-shifting to, like, you know, jump over some obstacles in the movie, I remember. You can perform all sorts of mischievous shenanigans. You can pretend to be other people. It would really spice things up in the bedroom. It would be a good power to have while fighting because you can mix and match body parts on the fly. And so, like, you could just make your fist really big while you punch or something. Uh, and the shapeshifting happens so fast. Like, there's almost no restrictions. It's seemingly limitless power, to be honest with you. It's kind of ridiculous how good this would be to have. And also, going back to what I said about Isabella, if you just look at it from a physics standpoint, the amount of energy it takes to manipulate matter to the point where you would have to do this, all the chemical reactions that would change from, like, if your blood type changed, or, you know, even just your bones stretching out, like, the amount of energy that this power requires is massive. And so if you can find a way to harness it, that is insane amounts of power. That's more power, I think, than, you know, lifting a house up even could be. So by and large, far above all the others is Camilo's ability to shapeshift. I just think that's completely overpowered. This is the only character where I would say, yeah, that's a supernaturally strong character that could compete with the likes of Goku. Like, that's absurd. All right, guys, that was the Encanto power level tier list. I hope you enjoyed my analysis there. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, and be sure to comment if you think I'm, like, super off base on any of these tiers. However, I think I'm pretty convinced of these. I'm thinking about it right now, and I can't imagine changing any of them, but maybe you can make a convincing argument. All right, guys, I'll see you some other time with more math or more gaming, or, you know, something I normally do. Adios.